Hey guys, happy Saturday. Happy high strangeness. Thanks for being here tonight. Let's see who's in the chat. Hey, Andrew Kennedy, Insidious Tomas, My Online Ghost, Tin Top. So nice to see you guys here tonight. Hope you're all having a good Saturday, a good weekend. Cheers, Ballet Brand. So awesome seeing all my regular fellow high strangeness people because like I said, I love how we're all into the same thing. That the pulse chain, the hex community brought us together, and we just all happen to like a lot of the same things. I think that is so awesome. So tonight I wanted to do some open lines. Sounds like something else. Okay, I want to do some open phone lines. But before that, I just wanted to riff on a few things in my brain this week. Hi, Scott. Nice to see you guys. So with high strangeness, it's kind of, I don't really structure this. I kind of just fly by the seat of my pants. I might have a loose structure. And I thank you guys for bearing with me and just like being in here anyway. Because you know what? I haven't had a chance to really get this together yet. I'm still kind of, getting my bearings, but I love just being able to come in here as a community and just kind of chat about what's on our minds regarding high strangeness, what's going on lately, and how things are. And I'm hoping because this month was crazy for me, but as things calm down next month, I want to, make this a little more, should I say professional, formal? No, but like make it, even more structured, have some maybe more specific topics for you guys, have some, like I said, I have people lined up to interview. So hopefully we can kick that off next month. So today is one of those days where I wasn't able to really get anything prepped, but I was so excited to just be here and just chat with you guys about just how we view the world, the lens we view the world through. And I'd love to hear what's on your mind. So I will throw the link into the chat if anyone wants to come on and talk about anything. If you have any thoughts or experiences with high strangeness or anything, I would love to have you in here. But before I do that, I just wanted to riff on a couple of things that were in my brain this week. Yeah, exactly. Just freestyling. That's basically what I'm doing. So I thank you guys for bearing with me as I'm freestyling. I do want to be one of those people who are like, professional and structured and everything. And here's my brain just doesn't work like that. But yeah, I appreciate the fact that you guys don't go running out of here and that you've stuck it out with me, because I have so much fun with you guys. And I know I say that every week, but I truly do. I do enjoy this time on Saturday nights with you guys. So like shouldn't say it's a weird week. It's just weird times in the world, weird times in the country. And I know that's more of a topic for the What's Ahead stream, but I feel like, because of how strange everything is that is going on in the country, I feel like it kind of fits in here. So those cattle deaths that happened this week, according to it was supposed to be a heat issue, which is kind of sus to me, because those Midwest states, they're used to extreme heat, and it wasn't even unusually hot this week. So the fact that they would all just keel over because of extreme heat, it just doesn't make sense to me, because there are animals that live in more extreme regions and don't have problems. People had, used the example of Mexico. We would see this in Mexico all the time if this was a heat thing. And again, people were saying it wasn't unusually hot in Kansas. This must be something more. And on top of that, you're also getting like conflicting stories from people. Like, oh, some ranchers are going, oh, no, it wasn't heat. It was actually a bovine respiratory virus that happened. Oh, no, it was this or was that, and if let's say if one of those things were the truth, then the truth is what the truth is. There shouldn't be 5 other theories to what's going on. And it seems even more suspicious that these cattle deaths are happening along with the all these fires and all the destructions of the food processing plants and everything. It seems to all go hand in hand for a destabilization of the food chain. Kind of like, am I going to get in trouble for making this comparison? TikTok's already taking down my video, but kind of like, the Holodomor, how famine was used as this tool of control. You can see that easily happening in our country. Like I said, our food system, our food chain, food supply is being destabilized at like an exponential rate. Like it's not just here and there. Like, and no, everybody ignores it. Everybody acts like it's normal, and it's absolutely not normal. And like and not to be a food snob, but it's like, okay, these are like processed food plants. So it's kind of like, ew, gross, who needs them anyway? But unfortunately, we do rely on those a lot for our food supply. A lot of people in the country are eating these processed foods. So if you destabilize those of us who don't eat it, it's kind of like whatever. But no, it destabilizes the whole market, and then you're gonna have a run on food. People buying other things that they wouldn't typically buy, and then those supplies going down, and then you combine it with the gas prices, and now Biden, I think, has released stuff from like our strategic gas reserves, which isn't gonna deplete it. So we're gonna run out of. So yeah, that's just a rabbit hole. And I guess I'll save that for a what's ahead stream. But that reminded me, and I'm not saying this is why the cattle died, but it reminded me of back in the 90s. You remember the cattle mutilation that was linked to UFOs? Like I had forgotten about that. And then I started thinking about that again. And I'm like, you know what? That is a topic I would love to deep dive into, should I say. But let me stop and see what's going on in the chat. Hi, Drix. Hi, it is now. Godfather J6, nice to see you guys. Thanks for making it in here tonight. So you are out making deliveries tonight. Oh, cool. So we're kind of like your background noise, your background music. Well, thank you for bringing us along on your ride. Yeah, and thank you so much to my wrench team. Anyone else want to be in the wrench team? Let me know, and I will wrench you up. That sounds like I'm going to beat you up. I'm going to wrench you. Yeah, I'm going to wrench you up. So thanks, guys, again. But hey, Kraus, nice to see you. So do you guys remember, like, it had to be, I mean, I know it's happened, during all different parts of history of the 20th century and the 21st century. But you remember that, like, there was a big, like, influx of cattle mutilation in the 90s. And I don't think it was just like, oh, this media frenzy and the media picked up on it. Like, it seemed like it was happening a lot. And I remember being a kid and just absolutely horrified because my mom would like watch these specials on different things, and there was a lot more talk on different specials about UFOs and paranormal phenomenon, and so it was just absolutely terrifying to me. But it's stuck in my brain ever since then. And because you remember they would find they would find dead cattle, and it wasn't just like dead cattle like how the cattle died in Kansas, because those cattle are dead and they're bloated from being in the heat, and they're not mutilated, they're just straight up dead. But these were mutilations where they said that these cattle were like drained of blood, and they were cut in very unusual ways. They looked like they were stitched up and then opened up back again, but it was something. They said it was like something different. It was abnormal. It didn't look like typical medical tech or typical people messing around for fun or ritualistic stuff. It looked like very odd, the mutilation, like very out of this world. And I just hadn't thought about that for a long time until all these cattle deaths happen. And again, I'm not saying it's the same thing. I do not believe that those cattle deaths are alien related. I believe that's like sabotage, but it made me think about it, and I'm like, you know what? I think this upcoming week I want to jump back into that, explore that, and see what happened with that. And I know there was some talk about chupacabras, like, okay, because the blood was drained, that's like a hallmark of the chupacabra. But everything else, like the chupacabra is a cryptid. It's more like an animal. It's not going to be, slicing and dicing. And the fact that these mutilations were usually seen around places where UFO sightings happen, they believe that it was linked. So, and it was interesting because, like, let's say it is UFOs and it is aliens from another planet, which, that I don't buy that. I think it's more spiritual than that. But let's say that's the case. What do they want with our cattle? That's so creepy, but I guess better they're dissecting the cattle than slicing and dicing us. But or even, if you take the demonic approach to aliens like I do, okay, like what the heck are they messing with this cattle for? Is this a Nephilim thing? Is this, so yeah, so that I want to dive into in the coming weeks, and then I guess I'll just report on what I find. And then I had a second thought this week too. Oh, wrench you up. Thank you so much, Godfather J6. I appreciate that. Hey, Flat Earth Underground. Um, rent. Wait, what's gonna be stuck in? Oh, wrench me, baby, one more time. Yeah, I think now it's gonna be stuck in all our heads tonight now. Yeah, so thank you for the reminder. So if you ask for the wrench in the comments below after the stream, that makes it easier for me to find your username and to click into it, right click it, and then it gives me an option to make you a moderator. So that's the easiest way for me to find you. So thank you so much for everyone who's volunteered to do that. I really appreciate that. And it makes me feel so much better to know you guys are watching over the comments so things don't get weird, because yes, this is a show about high strangeness, but we don't need weirdness in the comments. So, oh yeah, it's so fascinating because also like, because people like to pretend like it's a crazy person thing and that people just ignore this insanity that's around us, like that just makes me even more interested in what's going on. So, so I am with you. I am so into it. Yeah, so to think we're the only intelligent life form around would be extremely arrogant. Yeah, I mean, it's and it's not, yeah, no, I hear what you're saying. Yeah, definitely. I just also take a spiritual approach that these things are more sinister and that they're actually demonic and they're linked to things in the Book of Enoch and everything else, which I've talked about with Crypto Heartbeat. And I think he's gone down the rabbit hole on that pretty well. He's really well informed about that. So he's always fun to chat with. He knows his stuff when it comes to the demons and the aliens. I need to do my research, but I mean, I can just go on and on and on talking about that. And like I said, I need to do my research, meaning like I want to dive even more into it. But I'll probably save that for another time since I feel like I've touched on that a lot before. Yeah, at least at least they're done with the probing. That's just dirty. Yeah. We don't hear anybody talking about probes anymore, do we? I don't know. When I went up to the Pine Bush UFO Fair, though, they have such a great shirt. It was like I was abducted and probed in Pine Bush, New York. Like, where else can you like buy a tourist shirt like that? It's so great, and it has a little image of the person going into the UFO. So check out Zen Garcia concerning these topics. Okay, Zen Garcia, thank you. And I have my list of all these suggestions. So yeah, thank you guys so much. Keep it coming. So hopefully as I start making maybe better structured content in July, I can start digging into each of these people. So I appreciate that you guys have given me a backlog of things to look into. It's cool. It's interesting. I come across things that I wouldn't have come across otherwise. You welcome the probing. Okay, we'll just leave it at that. Well, I mean, you guys remember Fire in the Sky? That scene with the Fire in the Sky aliens? Yeah. Want those guys to probe you? So, and so the second thing I was thinking about this week, yeah. You know what? Yeah, before the aliens F us up or before the elites do, because I guess one way or another, right? Something's coming. But now we're gonna hodl for now because we know that we're gonna get that 10,000x with Pulse. I can't wait. It's just like, come on, soon. Can we get our Pulse soon? So the second thing I was thinking about today was I drove upstate and I drove to this huge outdoor yard sale that takes place at an old airport tarmac. And my sister's friend brought up haunted objects, and I was thinking about the same thing as I was going through there. And if I'm sure like everybody's seen The Conjuring, I feel like it's like one of those modern classics that everyone has seen. But one of the reasons that I really love The Conjuring is because of, it really hits on the paranormal, and views it very closely to the way I view the paranormal, which I think is, which is, that Christian perspective of it. Like I said, that's just my experience and the way I view things. So and it's done so well. It really portrays everything that's happening as stuff you don't mess with, and how these things come about. I can't even put it into words, but it was just so on point, and so realistic, the Conjuring movies. So I am a big fan. And if you're not familiar with the Conjuring movies, so it's based on the famous, paranormal investigators, and demonologists. So Lorraine Warren and Ed Warren. So I believe Ed Warren is the he's a demonologist, and I forget, he holds some sort of title, like the first, I don't know, non-priest demonologist, or I don't know, in the Catholic Church, but he had some sort of recognition for his work in demonology. And Lorraine Warren, I believe, was a medium, and they were both investigators, and they also, cleansed, these dark forces from people's houses and everything. And so one of the things that they talk about is, the shoot, not yeah, haunted objects. And like Annabelle is a haunted object. And so in real life, just like they show in the movie, the real life Ed and Lorraine, I've been walking in the airport, tarmac in the sun too long, today. So Ed and Lorraine Warren, they had a room full of these haunted artifacts. So these objects that demons had attached themselves to, and they kept it all stored away in this room that they would have like blessed once a month, because they said these things are too dangerous to be out in the world. We know how to handle it, so we're going to keep it in our, possession, and just make sure that they don't cause problems for anyone else. And that haunted object room still exists to this day. So even though they've passed, I believe it's in Monroe, Connecticut. The basement of their house, they basically turned into a museum where people can go and visit these haunted objects, which I am like, okay, if it's that dangerous, maybe people shouldn't be visiting. And so they passed away, but their house is sitting unoccupied with all those haunted objects still in their basement, which is amazing. And the museum got shut down because it was in a residential area, and the neighbors complained about people coming in and out of the museum, which I get, if you're in a regular residential area. So it's still there. And that was their way of keeping these objects safe, like I said, and not wreaking havoc with people. But then when you go walking through like this giant yard sale, you really start to wonder, what can you pick up and bring home that's going to cause problems in your home? Because apparently, from what I've heard, it's more common than we think, which is horrifying, because you're walking through and it's like, something as innocent as a doll. Okay, maybe people think dolls are creepy and not innocent. Could then just wreak havoc in your life and like be totally destructive in like your health and your relationships and everything, because something attached itself to this object that you brought into your house. Like last week at the, Pine Bush UFO Fair, in their museum, they had some haunted objects on display, and one of them was a doll. And this doll, they're like, if you look in its eyes too long, it makes you obsessed with it, so that you wanted. Oh, sorry, it's like a double thing. You have to look in its eyes for a long time, and you touch it, and it makes that person obsessed with it, so that they absolutely have to take it home. And then by taking it home, then the doll is in their house and then causing problems. And it really makes you think as you're going through there. You're like, okay, this is fun, and these, there's such cool stuff there, but you're like, what could I potentially be bringing home? So I was pondering haunted objects today. Um, so yeah, they invested Amityville. I have to say, The Conjuring 2, that opening scene that starts with that Amityville investigation is one of my favorite opening scenes of any movie of all time. It was so well done. And I've never seen Amityville Horror, but I just loved how they portrayed that. I'll post that on Twitter. It's the copy paste that's going around on Twitter. I don't know. I don't know what that means. Um, so oh, Mango Junkie. I didn't see your stream the other day. I'll have to check it out. I'm so bad sometimes at catching streams live. I have to catch them after the fact. John D. Is John D. Was he the one? No, he wasn't also linked with Amityville, was he? I'm not familiar with John D. Um, no, I've never been to the Amityville house, but I've been driving on Long Island and I've seen the exit for Amityville. Can you actually tour the house? Is that like a thing? I don't think I'd want to go in there, but it is. I mean, it is. I guess pretty cool to drive by and like see it on a sign, and know that it happened in the region. It's pretty wild. I don't think I completely appreciated it at the time when I drove by it, but then it's like, oh, now I get it. Now, yeah, I understand its place in history. You know what? It's interesting. So I'm not saying that mental illness is caused by demons, but there was a time where people did think that. And I think because there's a crossover in types of behavior. I think some demonic possession behavior mimics mental illness behavior. And I think that's where that happens. And it really does make you wonder, what is mental illness and then what is people suffering from the demonic. And like I said, I'm not saying I don't believe mental illness is real, but I believe sometimes there's crossover in that behavior that happens where it's hard to tell it apart unless you understand what's going on. Because like there's like demonic possession sometimes like will present itself like schizophrenia. So it's like, how do you know if somebody's possessed or schizophrenic? I guess that's where the experts come in. But it's mind blowing sometimes when you do see some of these similarities, right? So you bought a haunted microwave off of OfferUp. No wonder it was only $10. So I've heard of people buying roach infested appliances, not realizing there were roaches in the motor. So now we got to be afraid of demonic infested appliances. So not just the dolls, it's also the microwave. Can you imagine? So did somebody say I'm sorry, this chair sounds like it's going to break. I hope I don't hit the floor. I'm pretty sure it's a stable chair, but if I go down, that's what happened. So you went back there in the 90s. So you could actually tour it, or you just went and looked at the outside? Because sometimes that's fun to do. I tried to go look for Whitley Strieber's house that communion took place at, but I think I found the wrong house because they're very secretive about that location because the people he sold it to did not want the location of that house being revealed because it was notorious for aliens. Let's see. Okay, yeah, thank you. All you did was copy and paste. I don't know. Well, okay. Wait, who were you before you changed your name to copy and paste? I feel like you were somebody else. Now I'm confused. But yeah, anybody who wants a wrench, just you got to comment in the actual comments and not the live stream. That way I can find you. Haunted micro bummer. Oh, just the outside. Okay. Now I'm like, should I go to the outside? But then I'm like, no, I shouldn't even touch that. But gosh, there's a lot of like weird places in New York you can visit, like and some wild urban legends. Like, has anyone heard about like, or is that not politically correct to say? No, but it's just an urban legend, Tinkertown. Like, a tiny town with like tiny people and they're hostile. That's an urban legend in New York. And it's weird because you're like, where do these legends come from? Like did people how do they come about? Did somebody just make it up and it just caught on and it caught fire? Or did I'm losing my train of thought as I'm talking. Or did like something kind of legit happened and then the story kind of twisted as it went, because sometimes you wonder some like insane myths and some insane rumors, like, are they rooted in truth somewhere and it just kind of got out of hand that, you don't know what's fact and what's fiction. I don't know. So wrench you up, please. Thank you guys. I appreciate it. So make sure you comment in the comments, and not the live stream comments. That way I can, I'll be able to find you later. So Elmira, New York, is that upstate New York? That's not Long Island, right? Because I have to say, upstate New York has a vibe sometimes. It could be creepy because it could be pretty economically depressed. And I guess when things start getting run down, then it kind of gets that vibe. So I can see that. I can see how that could be creepy. Oh, okay. There you go. Maybe that's where the myth came from. um, you never ever believe the publicized story. No, I know what you mean. I totally. It's kind of like when you hear like somebody was kind enough to share an article with me about the Chinese government getting radio waves from somewhere in space, and they're wondering if it's an alien civilization. And I appreciate the article being sent to me, and I think that would be so cool if that was the case. But like, what I wonder is like, I'm like, governments always say or release information because they have something to gain. So I'm like, I don't want to hear from the government. I want to hear from the scientists that are not funded by the government, the individual people. Because like you said, I just don't believe the publicized story. Everybody has an agenda. And I don't know. Oh, okay. The Finger Lakes, I've heard that that's like that there's a lot of rumors about the elites and sex trafficking and all their rituals they do. And doesn't Hunter Biden have a tattoo of the Finger Lakes on his back? Now, you could say, oh, he loves the Finger Lakes and he has a connection to it. Or I like to think it's linked to all the weirdness with the elites that we hear from the Finger Lakes. Now, I don't know if it used to be a place that had a lot of occultic stuff going on, because have you noticed whenever there's like a place that has occultic connections, the elites are there in a heartbeat. They want to build their homes on top of that or whatever. So yeah, Finger Lakes are weird. I've never visited. I almost visited once and then it didn't happen. And then now I'm like, maybe I shouldn't. But I've heard, yeah, that there's a lot of trafficking that goes on there. Yeah, exactly. More to the story. Buckout Road. Oh my gosh. Okay, so for anyone not from the region that me and It Is Now are from, there's this road called Buckout Road, and it goes through this city called White Plains. Because in the New York City area, it's wild because New York City's huge, and then New York City is surrounded by like a bunch of small cities, and our small cities are bigger than some of the other cities in America. Like Yonkers, New York is like bigger than a lot of other major cities in other places, and yet it's considered a small city to us because it's outside of the city. But anyway, tangent. So in White Plains, there was Buckout Road, and they made a movie about it. I bought the movie, but I still haven't seen it. But Buckout Road was is just like, so it's this little city, but yet there's this country road where there's not too much built on it going through the northern part of the city. And it's pitch black. And what's wild is in Westchester, nothing gets that pitch black. Like it just doesn't happen. We're way too populated here. There's always lights or something. And there's no lights on this street. And when you're on it, you don't see lights anywhere unless it's like maybe a light inside a house in the distance. So it's completely mind-blowing to those of us who live in this region that this exists in this area. And it's like, and it's scary because I turned off my headlights as I was driving through for a few seconds to see just how pitch black it is. And it's like, you can't see your hand in front of your face. And the rumor is like, if you are going down Buckout Road and you stop, you turn off your lights or whatever, that I think it's been a while since I've heard this story, but that there are like cannibals or something that attacks. And I know that sounds extreme. But there's something dangerous that can happen. And it's wild because there really isn't anywhere like this place in Westchester, you can kind of picture bad things happening on this road, and supposedly it's haunted, and and I guess these flesh-eating people that come out maybe aren't real, but there's something demonic or spiritual that haunt people on the street, but it's this terrifying street. And I had gone down it maybe, I don't know, between 5 and somewhere between 5 and 10 years ago, again, after not being down there for years, and they installed streetlights. So it is not the same anymore. It's gone. It's just like now driving through a normal road, but just through the woods. So it's so sad they installed lights. Why would you install lights on Buckout Road? But I guess, I don't know, too many people were going through it because of the myth of Buckout Road. And unfortunately, I am not telling the story well. I am not doing it justice, but I find the road very horrifying, but yet at the same time, I'm very sad that they put lights on it. But they did make a movie about it. So isn't that interesting? It was well known enough to have a movie made about it. And so the trailer, there's a link in the comments. Thank you for posting that for anyone that wants to check it out. Oh, okay. So it's albinos, and they're flesh-eating albinos, I think. And my book, Weird New York, that I don't know where I put it. Sorry, because I usually put stuff next to me when I'm streaming, and then I think I forgot to put it near me. But Weird New York, I think I actually wrote about it too, because it was that notable, the story. Yeah, unfortunately, they messed it up by putting the lights up. So I'm like, was it really dangerous then if they were putting the lights up? But yeah, so if you go back now, it's going to be a disappointment. So I was just thinking about haunted objects. So sorry, I'm hopping back and forth, but yeah, just to wrap up the thing about haunted objects, knowing how haunted objects work now, it kind of makes you think twice about bringing anything home. It's disappointing now, but then it's like, you know what? I'm glad I have this knowledge, but then it kind of takes the fun out of going to tag sales and stuff. But yeah. So that was that. It was, like I said, just two random things that popped in my brain that I just wanted to riff on. And then I'll check out the chat. And yeah, maybe let's go to open lines. Oh, so you guys just saw the trailer and it's creepy. I can't remember if I saw the trailer. It was a blind buy for me because I'm like, it's a movie about Buckout Road. I have to buy it. And then I never watched it. I used to be kind of a junkie about buying things on Vudu, and then I would never watch it because Vudu would run such good sales. And that was like my preferred streaming service in terms of like buying stuff, service that you buy things on. So I'm going to open this up, open lines. Anyone who wants to pop in and chat, you are welcome to. And if not, I will just go back and forth with the live chat here. But yeah, I'm excited to have you if you're interested. If not, it's all good. We'll just go back and forth like this. Oh, and just a random note, I won't be able to stream live on Saturday. I have somewhere I have to be. So I'm thinking about moving it to Friday. I think that would make the most sense. For me, it's harder to do it on a Sunday. So it'll likely be on Friday night next week. And then it'll go back to its regular Saturday time. So there is the link. If anyone wants to pop in and talk weirdness, I am ready. So I think they burned this. Either didn't put enough almond milk in or they burned this espresso. I know. Why am I putting almond milk in espresso? Because I don't know. I like it. I like the way they do the shaken espresso there. But I won't go off in a Starbucks tangent. But I kind of do want to, but no, I won't. Though I overpaid for this because I don't have them put in any sugar. Because I put in my own natural sweetener at home. So I'm like overpaying for them to shake espresso and almond milk together. It'd be cheaper if I just brewed my own espresso and put my own almond milk in, but it's easy. This is on the run. So, okay. So the link is in the chat. I can't speak. I really can't. I mean, you know what? I like to think I was a night owl, my brain just starts losing it. Ooh, so somebody's in here. It is now. Thank you for popping in. Hey, completion fails. Nice to see you. Hey, how's it going? Are you connecting? Connecting your camera? Okay, I'll keep you up here until you come, until you show up. So always nice to have you.
Oops.
Hey.
Hello.
Nice to see you. Thanks so much for popping in.
Oh, no problem. I can't believe you've actually been down Buckout.
Yeah, because I guess you know what, when you're in this area, it's just one of the places that everyone talks about when they're a kid, and then you just got to go see it eventually when you have a car.
I
And
grew up a couple blocks from it.
oh wow, so okay, so you
Yeah.
probably heard of stories from there.
Oh, yeah, crazy stuff used to happen down there. It was in the 80s, it was a crazy road where, like you say, if you turn your lights off, it was pitch black.
Hmm.
And a lot of places it was only like wide enough for one car. And it would be like
Yeah.
the daring spot. You'd go over humps with you couldn't see if anybody was coming. Um, Crazy stuff. But the albinos, I'm gonna have to watch the movie again. It's been so long. Um, there was this one house about halfway through that people said they used to see blood coming out of the white plaster walls and um, all kinds of crazy stories.
That's and it's interesting because I feel like, okay, yeah, kids kind of make up stories and go nuts with these urban legends and stuff.
Yeah,
I always feel like there has to be a basis. It had to have started
right,
somewhere.
right.
There has to be some sort of reality to it. I mean, did you believe any of the stories you heard? Did you hear anything like particularly strange that you're like, it has to be legit? Or did you see anything on Buckout Road?
Yeah, I've seen things, but that was high school years. We'd go
Mhm.
out there and get high or get drunk or something, and kooky, crazy stuff would happen. So you'd always equate it to being in a haunted place or something
Mhm.
weird that wouldn't happen normally. But who knows? We were kids.
Yeah. Okay, so you don't yeah,
Yeah,
you don't know. But I mean, I'm telling you, like, I could see where it totally has the potential for weird things to happen and no one to know. Because it's so strange that, so close to like the downtown of White Plains that there's this, right? I mean, it's relatively close to
oh,
downtown,
right off Lake Street. Yeah, I lived
right?
on
Yeah, and
corner
that
of Lake Street and Broadway, and um,
it's amazing.
yeah,
And and it's so isolated. It really doesn't feel like you're in Westchester.
yeah. Do they even
So
still call it Buckout, or is it Old Lake Street?
oh, I've always heard it referred to as Buckout Road. I didn't even know it was called Old Lake Street.
Connected
So
with Old Lake Street. Yeah.
but I think and it's a bummer that they put up those lights, and I wonder if that was to as a deterrent for all the craziness of kids that happens on Buckout Road, or whether that was, something, other legit
I,
issues.
I think that if they did that, it was just because the real estate in the area is so high priced. I think
Mm-hmm.
they just cleaned it up, built new houses, a lot of big, wealthy houses up in there.
Oh yeah. I think it connects to North Castle, right? I feel like I've driven far enough in that
Yeah,
area where I ended up in North Castle and the houses were massive. Yeah.
yeah.
So they're
It's
not
only
going
it's only about 10 minutes from the Westchester County Airport, so
to.
it's high
Okay.
price real estate right on the border of Greenwich, Connecticut.
Hmm.
Uh, yeah, it goes up from there to Armonk, Newcastle. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I love it's like our own slice of weirdness in Westchester.
Oh,
Unfortunately, they ruined it, but I'm glad we got to experience it
yeah.
while it lasted. And it's funny because I'm like, when I was turning off my headlights, my car was moving. I'm like, that wasn't smart. But I guess that's all the stupid kid stuff that goes on. You're like this, and you're like, let me turn off my headlights and see how dark
Oh,
it is.
we've done that. We used to
Yeah.
some some of them used to roof ride on the cars, holding each side of the roof of the car and have a
Oh
guy
shoot.
drive through. That was like a dare. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, no, I did not witness any of that, but but I can picture it, man. Those White Plains kids could get a little wild.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna pop over to the chat a second. Oh, somebody said, "Oh, the the mushrooms on Buckout Road are legit." I hear.
Yeah.
And oh, Kings Park Psych Center, is that the one in Northport, on Long Island? Kings Park. I'm not sure, but I know that there's an abandoned psych ward on Long Island that my friend is like, we gotta
Oh,
go because she lives in Northport. So she's like, when you're in town, you gotta go. You gotta go. So one of these days, maybe I should live broadcast from there. Okay, so that is the one in Northport. Union Cemetery in Connecticut. I'm not familiar with Union Cemetery, but I have to say, like, the Northeast is just like it has such a wealth of history, being one of the original colonies, and
yeah.
it's rich Revolutionary War history. And I feel like when you end up with that history, then you end up with a ton of weird things that happen, a ton of urban legends. Like even Sleepy Hollow. Like,
Oh,
do you feel like Sleepy Hollow has a vibe
yeah.
when you're there?
Yeah, it definitely does.
It just doesn't feel like a normal town. And I
You know,
don't
they
think it's
changed
like
the name.
what?
They changed Sleepy Hollow's name of the town to North Tarrytown, but now they changed it back to Sleepy Hollow.
Yes, yeah. So they're still calling it
Yeah,
Sleepy Hollow at the
yeah,
moment. And they're definitely like embracing that aspect of their history, and they have constant events that go on, big
yeah,
parades,
yeah.
really cool stuff that goes on around Halloween. But it's so interesting because like even before I like knew all those urban legends that came out of Sleepy Hollow, something about the river towns always creeped me out. Always gave me a vibe on the Hudson River. It's like there's something weird here. And then when you hear some of these stories, like I went to a storytelling event where this local storyteller in the area, Jonathan something, I can't remember, but he's fantastic, goes and tells some of the legends that happened in this
Nice.
area. And they're like hardcore, like this stuff that's happened, like people getting dragged by horses and their face getting like torn off and this and that, and that they haunt certain things. Like, wow. Like, it's do you like have a specific weird Westchester experience that just like sticks with you, or like or any legend from Westchester that has kind of really grabbed you?
Uh, I mean, Sleepy Hollow was always a good one. Rockefeller Center has some stories. I don't remember any specifically, but they were kind of wacky stories
Or the
about the,
Rockefeller Estate,
yeah.
or the center in
Uh,
the city?
no, well, what's it called? Right up just north, right before Ossining.
Okay, the preserve. I think it's like the estate is on
Yeah,
there, and they have the
yeah.
whole preserve.
I heard kooky crap used to happen in there. You know,
Really?
and I don't have specifics. I've been out of there for over 20 years and kind of
Mhm.
leave that behind me, that my New York life. But
Oh,
I don't know. There's New York is crazy, especially Westchester. You get the mix between the country and the city, and it kind of blends. I drove a taxi in White Plains for a decade, night shift, day shift.
oh shoot!
Yeah, it was
I'm sure you got stories.
crazy times. Yeah, yeah.
Gosh, yeah. I mean,
Unfortunately, pre cell phones, so no cameras. But yeah,
oh,
crazy.
but oh,
Could
if
have
you
had
had
some
a
good
dash
pictures
cam.
or video. Yeah,
Oh gosh, yeah. And you know what? It's interesting that you mentioned the Rockefeller estate, weird things happening there, because like all of those like elite ruling families, the families that rule the world, they're so tied into the occult.
yep,
And so it just makes sense that weird things would go on those properties, because it's like I feel like it's like what came first, the chicken or the egg? Because they participate in occultic rituals, but they also choose properties that had ties to the occult before they were on it. So it's kind of like a double whammy, these families. I don't know specifically if the Rockefellers did it, but I know some of these other ruling families. So I had never considered that weird stuff would happen on that property besides the weirdness of the elites. But now I'm intrigued. I have to do some research and see what comes up with that. but I know I've walked to that preserve, and I walked by a lake. And in this lake, there was a door coming up out of the middle of the lake, which is odd because it's like, is this a man made lake? And that's some sort of access point to whatever controls it. But it's weird because, okay, with all that money, they can make the access point a little less obvious and a little prettier, or put some plants around it. And, and it looks like those doors, like when you're walking on the sidewalk, that go into a basement, and it just protrudes out. And then I found out from someone who has done work on that estate, that apparently they have all these underground bunkers. And, that's where they like store their valuables in case things go down and things get bad. And they told me, oh, no, that's an entrance to one of the bunkers, and I guess they put it in the middle of the water, figuring nobody's going to mess with it. So it's just so creepy to think that these people are all just hanging out in Westchester and doing their dark stuff. And even like George Soros lives in Katona.
Really?
Yeah, he's in Katona or Bedford. I'm pretty sure it's Katona. So
Wow.
I can't.
I got a buddy who's a postal carrier in Katona. Maybe he's his mailman.
You should ask.
He used to deliver to the Clintons when they lived in Katona.
Oh, okay. Oh, Chappaqua? Yeah, they're in Chappaqua.
They used to be in Katona.
Oh, they did they? Okay. So, yeah, they're in Chappaqua.
Years ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
Was the water low in the lake when you saw that?
It wasn't. No, it looked to be like normal, a normal water level, and it was weird because it protruded out of the lake. And it, again, if it was like some sort of waterworks for a fake lake, first of all, the lake looks real. Why wouldn't they hide it better? And then it's like, and if it's their bunker, why wouldn't they hide it better? It was weird. I've never seen anything like that come out of a lake.
It reminds me of Kensico Reservoir. When the water gets low, you could see rooftops come out of the water, because those were a lot of little lakes that they connected to make one big reservoir.
And they flooded out some of those towns.
Yeah.
Right. So the roof, they're still in existence under there.
Yeah, I remember back in the 90s, late 80s and 90s, that we had water shortages, and the water level was really low, and you could see chimneys and roofs in different areas. It was pretty wild.
I would have thought those would have deteriorated, but I guess if you think about the time period where they were built, that stuff was like made to withstand. Yeah. Stone. Because I've been to that reservoir and walked the dam and everything, and the water was always high, so I've never seen that. Now I'll have to go. What?
You walk the dam?
Yeah, I used to walk it because they have the whole walking trail that goes around and over it.
Used to be able to drive over it. That was wild. Before 9/11.
They closed that after 9/11, and they never opened it back again.
Nope.
So now it's walking. Yeah. Which, I mean, I feel like there's so many other ways to access this dam. It doesn't really seem like it, makes sense, but at least it makes it all cute and quiet up there. But
what's the name of the town that it's in?
Oh, the town that it's in, Valhalla?
Yeah, that's a kooky name,
Oh, true. Yeah. And it's funny because growing up here, I'm so used to hearing these names. I don't realize how odd some of these names are. Like I remember, like Valhalla, that's Viking, Valhalla, or like in Mad Max, don't they talk about Valhalla too, and Fury Road? And then
I used to think about all the kookiness that happened in the area, being one of, like you say, the original 13 colonies. I wonder if it stems somehow from early fighting with natives. And
sure, like maybe the ground is cursed or
yeah, because someone did really evil things.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. Because like if you think of Skinwalker Ranch, that was cursed land.
I'm not familiar with it.
Yeah, Skinwalker Ranch, all the paranormal and UFO things that go on there, they believe is tied back to that there was a Native American curse put on it. I don't know if it was like during the Relocation Act that they cursed it, or whether it was a conflict happening with other tribes and they cursed it. But to this day, there's issues. So maybe that would also could be attributed to the vibe that the river towns have. That's why they don't feel right.
They all felt weird going right down
Yeah.
the line to the city. Every one of them, it was always strange.
And you know what? I'm glad that you feel that too, that I'm not crazy. Because I'm like,
No,
there's just something about it. I would never want to live in a river town. Um,
like Elmsford.
so
Elmsford was weird crap happens in Elmsford.
really weird stuff happens in Elmsford.
Just weird in an everyday meaning, but just
Uh,
I don't know.
yeah. Well, I know it's not that pretty. So
No,
so I'm
no.
like, maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
And even like if you look at some of the other names, like, even just talking weird names, I never realized how weird a name Tuckahoe was until I said it and somebody started laughing who was like from Maine. I'm
Yeah.
like, what? Tuckahoe.
Or down in
um,
Hastings on the Hudson, and
Hastings, yeah, Hastings. Yeah,
yeah,
Hastings is a cute town. I mean, I guess all these have a vibe, but I find Hastings cuter than a lot of these other river towns. It creeps me
yeah,
out less. But when you're in some of these buildings, like they are old, like Clockwork Records. Oh no, I think it's a newer one, but there's this really cute record store. I don't know if that's Main Street Hastings, and Sean Taggart had a studio down there. So once you would start going down into these buildings, and they just keep going down, and then they overlook like just like this like little mill and stuff. I'm like, man, these towns
yeah,
are ancient and have a history, and you really wonder what went on there. Like Crestwood in Eastchester, I heard that when Crestwood started getting built up, they had torn down a bunch of buildings. And when they tore down buildings, they found bones and all this crazy stuff that they didn't know went down. And they were just finding bodies in this place. So I guess, yeah, these are the things that come with living in a really old area. But
yeah.
I'm glad I'm glad to live here. I'm attached to it. But what brought you out of New York?
I guess the opposite of what attaches you to it.
Oh, okay. You want it to be, is it the population? You too many people here?
I Yeah, but you
Yeah.
don't know it until you leave
Mhm.
and come back. Like in the '90s, I actually moved to Sweden for a year
Oh,
uh,
wow.
and came back and gave me a new outlook on America and life. Then I don't know. I had a buddy who moved out here. He used to come and visit. I lived underneath his mother and in the apartment below her, and he'd just tell me about it all the time. And I was just like, all right, let's try it. And
Cool.
came out here, got off the plane. About 10 minutes it took before I said, "Yep, I'm moving."
Oh, wow. So, yeah,
Yeah,
so it was meant to be. It just
no,
clicked
yeah,
right away.
done, done.
Yeah.
And I told him,
So
I
you
said,
don't
"I'm
miss.
moving." He says, "Everybody says that. I'll believe it when I see it."
Uh-huh.
And 6 months later, I called him up. I said, "I'm in St. Louis. I'll be there in 2 days. I'm driving." So
Oh, wow. And
yeah.
no regrets. You don't miss it.
No, I don't even think I looked in my rearview mirror till I hit Pennsylvania.
Oh, wow. Yeah. You
Right
were
through
over it.
Jersey. Yeah, bye.
Well, you know what? That it's we definitely have a lot of people leaving and happier in a lot of other areas right now. There's a big exodus. So I think a
Yeah,
lot of other people are feeling the same way that you did back in the 90s.
I
Um,
got family there still, and this whole thing we've been going through for the past few years, it's so different when you leave places like there
mhm,
to go to places that aren't like there.
mhm.
So
And
I
you
don't
know
know.
what? It's interesting that you say that because looking at a comment here from my online ghost, some bad energy connected to that part of the earth, loads of history.
Yep,
Um, so, I mean, maybe that's also what you feel too when you left, that you got
maybe,
away from that,
maybe.
from that energy. And it's interesting because, like, a lot of the dark things that do happen in the city and the Federal Reserve Bank being here and everything, you do wonder if it's all connected, if it's all related. You wonder why like we said before, why the elites are so attracted to this area. I don't think it's just because it's pretty.
No, it's pretty, but no, there's got to be something else.
Hmm. Yeah. So I guess that's the risk I'm taking living here. No, sometimes I do feel like, it is kind of, that you're kind of walking a line here, but yeah, this is where I'm at for
Not
now.
to toot our own
Yeah.
horns, but if you grew up in New York where we grew up, I feel like when I leave, I'm going to get beat up on this. I feel like I have an advantage. Um,
Mhm.
you're used to the competition of so many people, and you go
Mm.
somewhere where it's less populated. Um, I felt I had a different work ethic. Uh, you get a job, you go to work. Your first
Mhm.
week on the job, you don't call in sick. They
Mhm.
do that out here. It just
Really?
blows my mind. It's
Oh, wow.
call in sick on
That's,
your
yeah.
second day on the job.
Yeah.
You don't call in sick, you get sent home sick.
That's interesting. That's interesting because that must be why when I meet people who are working in New York temporarily, they're like impressed by everybody's drive that they have here, or just,
Because
the way
there's a
we
line of people behind them ready to take their job if they screw up.
I didn't think about it that way. No, that's true, but they had noticed it, and I guess I had never noticed it not being anywhere else, besides here. But I have to say, you're also at an advantage when the shit hits the fan, which it looks like we're going in that direction. That you're not in that urban suburban situation and all the problems that come with it. And even if things are fine in Westchester, we still have that golden horde issue. In what direction is everybody going to migrate to out of the city when there's no food, when everything's going down?
Oh, you know
There,
where they're going.
certain boroughs are going to funnel certain ways, and I think Manhattan, part of it's going to go to Jersey, part of it's going to go the other way, but I think we're going to get a bunch of Manhattan and Bronx up here, which
Absolutely.
a lot of people, that means funneling up there, and things could go bad. So I think, yeah, one
And
of
then
the advantages
the
to
second
leaving.
wave is going to be Long Island people coming in and following them out.
Oh, that's true. I didn't think about it. Yeah, because the problem with Long Island is
You're
one
stuck.
entrance and one exit. Yeah.
Yep.
Which I've always thought about it in the context of, oh, isn't it dangerous to live on Long Island if something goes down? But I never thought about it like that. Like, oh, they're all going to funnel this way too, And nothing against those people in other areas. But when people are hostile and angry and hungry and, then things can go bad. It's like The
Yep.
Walking Dead.
And who
So,
has the guns? Who has the guns in New York?
yeah, there's another there's
Only
another
the
one of the
criminals.
problems too. So yeah, we are like the perfect storm for things going bad here.
Yep.
But so I want to jump back to what you said about taxi driving and the weird stuff
Oh,
you saw. So anything like paranormal or strange or alien like you've seen as when you were doing that?
um, probably not that I recall. The
Mhm.
craziest thing, it's not really paranormal, but it's a funny story. It's just this guy, John Ponytail, we used to call him because he had really long hair. Um, I was dispatching an overnight shift, and it was one story up in a building on the street. You could pull up, and I'd look out the window and talk to drivers. And it was a snowstorm, an ice storm, the blizzard of '96.
Mhm.
Um, and we had the new bubble cars, the police cars, not the old square Chevys, but the round ones.
Mhm.
And he went down to the Bronx and got some weed. He took a customer there, got some weed, brought it back, and he pulls up, and I see him coming, and his car's got no hood on it. Like the hood is gone, completely gone. And he gets out of the car, he starts running. I was like, dude, what happened to your hood? And he turns around and looks, and he goes, oh, I thought that was a sheet of ice that flew off. His hood blew off on the Bronx River Parkway, and he didn't even know it.
Oh, that's pretty bad. Yeah. Oh gosh.
Yeah. But I bring that up just because Johnny was strange. He was kind of paranormal.
Yeah, he was. And so of course it would be him that would lose his
He
hood.
was touched.
He
Yeah.
was touched. What does that say about people that like the paranormal now? Does that mean yeah, that we're touched too? No.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
Anyway.
You know what? We think outside of the box, right? So I
Yep.
guess in this day and age, that is kind of like being touched when in the head when everybody is groomed to think inside the box. There's no critical thinking anymore.
It's kind of like how we're all into hex as well, where there's
Yeah.
so many hex haters. do our own research, think outside the box, can see something and make a decision for ourselves on logic and reason.
That's true. That's interesting. Yeah, I didn't connect it to that too. Yeah, because I mean, truly, Hex is an out of the box crypto. So it's so, yeah, for us to get to that means that, yeah, well, you know what, we're not gonna think the way everyone else does, and we're immune to criticism. And when you're into the paranormal and the UFO stuff and the supernatural, people want to criticize that, you know what, and I guess we're immune to it. We can handle it. We can handle it in both ways. So I guess that's
Yeah.
why so many of us just get along so well. We have so much in common, and I think it's such a cool thing, and I think a rare thing in crypto.
I almost welcome criticism.
Mhm.
How are you going to improve if you're not criticized?
Yeah, it's true. And it's a way you know you're doing something right, you know?
Yep.
hmm Yeah, when people are coming up against you. So,
Ada says, "Oh snap, he didn't say that."
yeah, I was looking at is that you still got a little bit of that New York hostility shining through? And then, oh, not just the criminals, you would be surprised. Oh, yeah, when
Oh,
things
no.
go down, yeah, it's not just going to be the criminals. Yeah, because desperate people are going to go to desperate measures. When people's kids can't eat,
Yep.
well, yeah, people are going to go wild.
That's the line. It's the
hmm
food.
hmm
That's the line that you can't cross.
And that breakdown happens very quickly,
Yep.
and unfortunately, we're headed that way, sadly, and it seems seemingly intentionally. That's my opinion.
I think it is intentional, but I don't know why. I have hope in humanity that we'll
hmm
get through it and
hmm
make things better.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah, but but I guess what makes me pessimistic was the way people treated each other during COVID, and
Oh
during
yeah.
mandates.
Oh yeah.
So that, and once I saw that, I'm like, I think that made me lose hope in humanity. I'm like, there's no way people are going to do the right thing, but I hope so. You honestly, you just never know the way people are going to go.
I think if I was in New York through COVID, dead or in jail, um, I
I'm telling you, I lost my tolerance for so many people. I lost my patience for so many people. And I feel like it just has made me want to cut down my circle so much. So, because you really saw people's true colors during that.
yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Nowadays, I like the mask. I
Yeah.
love the mask now because whoever's still wearing one, it's a sign. You don't have to waste your time with them. Okay, just go ahead, keep going.
I didn't know where that was going. I was like, where's this going? Yeah, no, it's interesting because we live in a time where facts don't matter. So people are confronted with the facts, and whatever choice they want to make, cool, that's their
Right,
problem. But the
right.
fact that they're presented with facts and want to then go after people with this, ignore facts and attack people. Like when you start attacking people, there's the line. Do your thing, but um don't start going after people, because it's like a superstition. They've become
Yeah,
a superstition because of your superstition, you know but yeah,
it's
so
people that believe blindly what they're told.
exactly. It's the sheep mentality, and you know what? And that is a grooming. And I know grooming is a big a buzzword nowadays, but
Yeah,
grooming
it
happens
is.
in all different ways. You know what I mean? So this is like a mental grooming that comes from government schooling. Think
Yes.
don't think for yourself. Here's the information, and this is what you're supposed to do. And really, when you do that, like, it is superstition past a point because somebody else is telling you this, and because you want to ignore all facts and everything else. Yeah, so
Kraus doesn't have the hope that I have.
now a small group that makes it. Oh, okay, you gave up on the humanity. So yeah, you know what, most of it, I guess, it does come down to where you were during COVID, because I know people who live in other areas seem to have more hope for humanity. I guess did it get dark here? You see people yelling at each other, and people just like, it was insane. Like, being outside without a mask and then getting yelled at by people for being outside, you know, it was just like, it was mind blowing.
Yeah, for being outside.
For being outside without a mask, like, because there was a time where everybody expected that each other to wear it outside, and I'm like telling her it's not a law to wear it outside. Yes, it is.
Yeah,
And the
exactly.
fact that people don't understand the difference between law and mandates is a whole other story. Um,
Yes.
but yeah, so yeah, show your people's true colors were shown. Oh, and thank you, Scott, for that. I really appreciate you hopping on this live, and I'm glad you're enjoying it.
You know, it's
Um,
funny he mentions the notification. I got it about 15 minutes after I got it, well, 7 o'clock, 10 o'clock your time. Was that the
oh, that's
original time
interesting.
for the stream?
So I think the time that I set was 9:45, and I think I got into it around, or maybe could have been 9:50.
Yeah,
Um,
no, I was watching when my phone dinged and got the
yeah.
notification, but it was about 10 minutes in.
Oh, interesting. So I wonder how what their yeah, and I noticed that sometimes like I get notifications for people that I didn't subscribe for notifications, and then the people that I do sub for, I don't get their notifications. So I don't even know how YouTube works. But no, I'm glad. Thank you for being here today, and thanks
That was
all
good.
you guys for hanging around. Kraus says Ash is grooming us into high strangeness. Like we said, grooming comes in all shapes and forms and everything. So I guess yeah, grooming you everybody to think outside of the box, but I think you guys already think outside of the box. That's why you're here, right?
Yep.
And like you were saying, you know, that's also why you're in Hex. So facts no longer a base for knowledge, a base for name calling. I mean, who would have thought that within a few, I mean, okay, we were already heading in this direction, but who would have thought it would have deteriorated so quickly where facts are not facts. Facts aren't real. There's no such thing as truth. It's whatever you feel is the truth. It's feelings now. Who would have thought we would have devolved into that so quickly? But
Like the
yet
whole phrase, my truth.
I hate that
Yeah.
phrase. Thank you. You know, it's kind of like moral relativism, but worse. It's like delusional. It's just complete delusion. I'm like, the truth is the truth. It doesn't, you know, change. And I hear people that like know better that's using that. I'm like, stop using that terminology because you're just perpetuating that mindset, even if you don't believe in it.
Well, it's sad
Um,
because people use it that maybe don't believe it or are too smart for it because they want to fit in.
yeah, that's
They
true.
don't want to stand out.
Mhm.
Uh, I never cared.
Yeah, too many people afraid of being canceled too. You know, um, it's strange being canceled in their fields that you know they become this like neutered version of themselves, and it's like the stuff that they're editing about themselves isn't even anything that bad or cancelable, but it just like makes them so boring. Like, you know, like you just like you're sanitizing everything about yourself out of fear, you know, and that's not a way to live. And out of fear that what's going to happen. I mean, I have
Right.
people that yeah, they cause problems for me because of things I say, but like what am I going to do? Am I going to sanitize that? Then it's not me, then it's somebody else, you know, it's fake. I don't even say anything that extreme, but people don't want to hear a different opinion. I don't understand why people want to live in an echo chamber. You know, since
It's a,
diversity, spice of life, diversity
it's
of
a,
thought.
it's a comfort zone.
Yeah.
You take your lack of filter New York self out of New York, and oh my
Mhm.
God, it gets bad.
Really? Do people get offended?
Oh, I either make friends for life out here or enemies for life.
Mm,
They just cannot take it. They're threatened by it, and then I don't care. You do you, but
yeah.
they don't like that.
I think yeah, they just don't get us, you know, and they don't get that authenticity. And I think that's what it comes down to, authenticity. I think it's, you know, because I think a lot of people sanitize everything, you know, so even if they're being authentic, they're doing it in a nice way. So when they like hear straight to the point stuff, it to them seems mean or shocking or something. It must be. I like straight to the point.
Yeah,
Like one of my favorite cultural commentators, like people hate her because she's like right to the point, but I like it. It speaks to me. Like, you know, she's just getting right to it. But I was
who's
going to say,
that?
am I gonna get in trouble now for saying her? No, I love her. Denise McAllister. You know, like I totally encourage anyone to follow her online, because here's the deal. Like, you may not agree with everything she says, you know, and because she is on a certain side of the political spectrum and the religious spectrum, but she's so intelligent and she's so direct in what she says. Like, I feel like, you know, like, even if people don't agree with her, I think, you know, they should still check out what she's saying, because she just has such a way of presenting things, and eventually you'll find something that you agree with her, you know. So, but she's fascinating. I love her. She got canceled. She was that meme, you were at my wedding, Denise. That was her, you know, with Megan McCain. So
No
yeah,
idea of
we
that.
are direct. We're direct people. So yeah, so I love when I, you know, read someone like her that's just direct and to the point. I'm like, yes, thank you.
Life's too short to beat around the bush.
Yeah, truly, you know? Yeah, and exactly. We have to march to the beat of your own drum. It's more fun. Like, why be boring? And you know, and it's like, I know people who are like so hilarious, but it's like lately they're afraid of offending anyone. And the funny thing is like, they weren't offensive in their funniness, but now that they're
Right.
afraid, you know, then they're just not funny anymore. It's sad.
Yeah. The wokeness killed comedy.
It has. It truly has. And you know what? But I felt like comedians always got a pass. So I don't understand why they're not getting a pass now. Because they got a pass because you know that they're, I don't know,
Right.
because you know it's just in good humor, that it's just in jest, that it's not real. I mean, it's just like, I don't know, it's just like a mirror reflecting humanity. That's what they were doing. But
Yep.
I don't know. Hmm. So tell us, if you don't mind sharing, what are you enjoying there tonight?
This
Mm-hmm.
tobacco.
Tobacco? Okay.
Yeah. Being out here, when was it, about 12 years ago? My father was still in New York and he was sick. So I took time off of work to go back to New York to help take care of him. And cigarettes were ridiculously priced.
Mhm.
$15 a pack. It was just crazy. And not working, I didn't have money. And I remember in these, smoking weed out of these used to last forever.
Mhm.
So I started ripping open cigarettes and putting them in a little dugout. And I went from a pack a day to a pack a week.
Oh, that's
But
interesting. Fascinating.
but but everybody thinks I'm getting high all the time.
That's what I thought was going on. But I'm like, you don't seem high.
See, tobacco.
Oh, okay, interesting.
Yeah,
Okay. Oh, well, thank you for explaining that, because I was curious what was going on over there. And I mean, and you're probably like, so because it's a pack a week, you're probably destroying your lungs less than a pack a day smoker.
yeah.
No
Last
offense.
time I went to
No
a
offense to
no,
your
last
lungs.
time I went to a doctor, they couldn't tell I was a smoker. Uh,
Because it's so little.
and I remember my parents, lifelong smokers, but they
Mhm.
used to tell me that when they added filters to cigarettes, that's when they changed. That's when they started putting stuff in the filters, treating the
Mhm.
tobacco with stuff. Um, it was just. Did you ever see the movie? I forget the name of it. About Thank You for Smoking. I think it was.
I've heard of it. I've never seen it.
Like, yeah, that got me starting to look into it. And they call it the free freebase tobacco level or something like that.
Mhm.
So now I just smoke no filter, no paper, uh, just organic tobacco,
Hmm.
and I'm fine.
Like microdosing
Yeah,
in a
all
way.
day long.
Which is interesting. And it's interesting that you mentioned that about the filters and everything in it. Because okay, like anything really combustible that you're inhaling isn't healthy. So that, I mean, that comes with its own effects.
Right.
But you know, but I guess, you know, they, because we're constantly being poisoned at every turn, they found it an opportunity, yeah, to add things, you know, everything, like our water, our tap water. It's just like, it freaks me out when you really think about just how toxic everything is and how intentional it is, because certain things like don't even need to be additives,
Right.
and that they're doing it. So it's interesting, because I don't know, I never gave it much thought, you know, the additives in tobacco, besides the fact that, ew, that's gross. But then yeah, you look at it and you're like, okay, that's another way to poison people. So they're getting us through our shampoos, our skincare products, our water, you know, even showering in chlorine water, your body's absorbing all that chlorine.
And
And
fluoride.
interesting. Oh, and the fluoride too. And I
You
heard
want
something
to you want to see
interesting.
something? You should get I distill my own water,
Uh-huh.
and you use the tap water. Tap water out here is disgusting. But whatever's left in your distiller, that was in your water, and it opens your eyes to, holy
What's in
crap, that shit could be in my body right now.
someone posted that in an Instagram story. It was nasty what was left behind in their distiller.
It's gross.
Mhm.
I could grab it now and put it on camera and show you what it is.
Oh yeah, that would be awesome. So everyone
You
can
want to see
see
it?
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
if you're up for doing that,
Yeah.
which is pretty, I mean, yeah, it's amazing because it's like even if you know you're drinking pure water, the fact that even if you're drinking from the purest water source, the delivery system is contaminated. So our pipes, everything that's in there, think about how nasty pipes are. So I was just talking to the chat about how nasty the inside of pipes are. So even if you're getting the purest water you can, the carrying system is disgusting. Like, when you see a pipe being thrown out and you see all the buildup in there, it's just, it's mind blowing. Gosh, yeah. And that's all. Those are, what do they call them? Solids, that are dissolved in the water.
Total dissolved solids. Yeah, this is about, I must have run about, I don't know, about 10 gallons through it. So 1 gallon at a time.
10, it's only after 10 gallons.
Oh,
Wow.
yeah.
I would have thought that was more.
Let me see.
Gosh.
Oh, no. I gotta run the cleaning stuff through it once a week. And it gets, you clean it and this gets shiny metal.
Uh-huh. So
Perfectly.
so that's just all coated in dissolved solids. Oh, can you imagine the amount of fluoride that's sitting in there?
Yeah.
It's like a neurotoxin. Purposely put into it, which, there's no evidence that putting fluoride in water actually helps your teeth. I mean, you don't even, so fluoride water, obviously, like we said, studies show that it does not help your teeth. But even in the toothpaste, it doesn't make a huge difference. I have no dental issues and I don't use a fluoride toothpaste, So, I mean, according to the dentist, my teeth should be rotting out of my face right now. So
my little toothaches and stuff went away when I stopped using fluoride toothpaste.
Your what went away? I didn't hear that.
If you get a little toothache or something here or there,
Interesting.
They went away. Yeah.
It's amazing that so many problems that supposedly are getting treated by certain things are actually caused by those things too.
Fluoride is a neurotoxin. And they put it in the water.
It's another method of control. It keeps us docile when it's in our water, and it calcifies our pineal gland, so to mess with our spirituality. It's from it at every angle. And isn't it like, does it cause cancer too? But there's a ton of other cancer causing agents in the water.
Who was the first person to put fluoride in water?
Ooh,
I'm not 100% sure of this, but I've heard it was Hitler.
That it was who?
Hitler.
Oh.
To keep people docile and compliant.
There you go. I didn't know that, but that's not.
I've heard it. I don't know it for 100% fact.
Somebody had to start it, and it had to be for a purpose that wasn't teeth. Because again, when do they really care about us? Oh, we're supposed to believe that they care about our teeth. All of a sudden, no. Yeah. Also, they make money off of our teeth being bad. So. But it's interesting because they also say like obesity is tied to tap waters too, and everything that's in it does mess with your body. And it's interesting because I was having a filter issue. So I've been drinking, it's horrendous, tap water for months because it's too lazy to deal with this filter issue. And now I'm ordering another filter. Thankfully, no, this is my grandmother's filter. So at least this is clean now. But I noticed that I didn't change anything in my lifestyle, but I started gaining weight, and I've gained about 10 pounds and I can't take it off. And it's come on for no reason. I'm not doing anything bad. And it made me realize that the only thing I've changed is drinking tap water all the time. And I drink a lot of water and there's a lot of tap water. So I'm like, what the heck is in there that's poisoning my body, that has messed with my weight? And now I went back to filtered water and I seem to have stabilized. And
Yeah,
I have to drop those 10 pounds now, but I'm like, it really makes you wonder, what kind of endocrine disruptors are in there, what kind of toxins and what that is doing to my body. It's really disgusting and scary. So I'm like, maybe there is truth to this whole thing of water causing obesity.
yeah. Don't drink unfiltered water.
No, that was stupid. I don't know what I was thinking. That was me being lazy. And it's I really regret doing that. And now, like I said, I'm wondering if that's what's linked to my weight gain. So
Could be.
thankfully it was only 10 pounds before I realized. Yeah.
And the whole myth about, for years, people thought it was unhealthy to drink distilled water. It's pure water. It's, because it said on the bottles that you get in the auto parts store for the radiators, not meant for human consumption.
Really?
It's just that started the whole myth that.
So that's where it comes from. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I had a scientist tell me once when I was a kid, like saying, oh no, humans aren't made to do drink distilled water. It tears up your insides. It does this. And ever since then, I had that view of distilled water. My mom's been trying to tell me lately. She's like, no, we need to switch to distilled. And I'm like, I was so freaked out by that. But now I see that it's, it's not that big an issue as long as you're making sure that, your minerals are, replaced and everything and replenished through your eating.
They say it leaches minerals from your body. Well, it does. The inorganic minerals that your body can't use, that you're getting in tap water.
Oh.
You get your minerals from food, from plants.
So what's interesting about that is, so it's taking so does that mean it's cleansing your body? Oh, okay. That's interesting. That's cool. All right.
I had a brother that had really bad kidney stones. He's passed. But he drank distilled water because it would help with the kidney stones, because it would clean them rather than have things calcify inside your body.
Oh, wow. So I'm sorry, I'm just processing this. So kidney stones potentially then being linked to our drinking water and everything that's poisoning us, because when he kind of cleared it out, you really think, you start to wonder that without all this intervention and everything that's happening, to kill us, like how much healthier we would be, because like none of this sounds naturally kind of occurring as just a part of being human. It sounds like most illnesses come from this interference.
Yeah.
And I guess that comes back to population control.
Yep. And like you were talking about before, I think it's combinations. It made me think of one of the first modern Batman movies with, it was in the 90s. It was different components and different things like shampoos, soap, creams, this, that. They would affect people in different ways. And it's the same thing today, I think, with nutrition. You could take two people, have them have the exact same diet. One gets big, the other gets heart disease.
Yeah. And it comes down to genetics. Our genetics, show how everything's going to affect us. That's why some people can be exposed, to the same carcinogenic agent in the same exact place. And then one person will be fine and the other person will get sick. It's like the Marines at Camp Lejeune. Did you hear about that water contamination? So in Camp Lejeune, North Carolina, there was this contamination of the water on base, and a lot of Marines ended up getting cancer. And some didn't. And I guess it just comes down to your genetics. And then what happened with that exposure? They were like, storing things improperly on the base, and then it leached into the water. And my dad is one of those Marines that got the Camp Lejeune cancers. One of them. Thankfully, he's okay and he's in remission now. But it's interesting that it really comes down to just constantly being bombarded in our environment, and then what your genetics, show that your sensitivities are. What's gonna end up happening. It's it's a lot to think about. And I guess that's why people call it being black pilled sometimes, that it's hard to handle, like people that want to blindly trust and then to realize that no, they've been trying to kill us all along. It's a hard thing to accept and understand, but I think it's so important to realize that, because once you view everything through that lens and know what to avoid and know that these people aren't on your side, then you can it helps you to free yourself and live that better life.
Yeah, but the people that are carrying it out are not the people that are trying to do it. The people that are carrying it out think they're doing good.
Oh, true.
Like I know a guy here, out here in Arizona, that we were talking fluoride came up in the
Mhm.
water, and he used to work for the water department. He goes, "Yeah, we dump that in every 2 weeks." I was like,
Oof.
"You're the one doing it,"
Yeah.
um, and they don't care. They just,
It's their drones. They have their
yeah,
drones to do things. It's true,
yeah,
and they think they're doing right. Like, if you look at everything that's happening in the pandemic, a lot of these people think they're saving the world
yeah.
with some of their interventions, and they, like, legit are brainwashed to believe it, and it's sad, and, yeah, they're being manipulated. They're like the puppets, because yeah, the elite, it's like they're the fall people, and the elite will never get in trouble for it.
You know, and they watch too much programming on TV.
Mhm. Mm. Yeah, that's so true.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, Ash, I think I'm going to head out.
I'm gonna run too. Thank you so much for being here.
No, it was
I hope,
great. Good
yeah,
talk.
yeah, it was a good talk, and thank you guys for hanging out and for joining in tonight. So hope to see you again soon. It is now. Thank you
Yeah. Hey,
again.
watch that Buck Out movie.
You know what? Like I said, I have it. So now this is my motivation to actually go and watch it now. And
I
then I'll let
have
you
it
know what
and
you think.
watched it when I got it, but I don't remember it. I'll have to watch it again. Maybe I'll watch it tonight.
Yeah, this will be the week we all watch The Curse of Buckout Road, right?
Yeah.
Everybody in the live, and we'll all talk about it next week. So thank you
Cool.
so much. Have a good
All right.
night. I'll
Bye
talk
bye.
to you soon. Bye. Righty, that was fun, and thank you guys for hanging out and for chatting in the live chat. And so you drive your off to get spring water. Sorry, I can't read out loud. I'm on the verge of a migraine, guys, but I really want to be here tonight. So forgive um my weirdness. But sorry, I'm gonna try reading that like a normal person again. I drive my dirt bike off grid to a Thai mountain spring every week to get clean water. Oh my gosh. Clean water in Thailand sounds amazing. And not being tampered with too. So you are so fortunate that you're able to do that. Oh, and you go into the Thai jungle mountains. I think as humans, like that's our reset. We're meant to be out in nature. It does something to us. You know, it grounds our magnetic fields, and I think it's one of the healthiest things that you can do. And then being in the jungle and the mountains in Thailand must be absolutely beautiful. So yeah, thank you for telling me about that. I forgot that you live in Thailand. So I think you've mentioned that before, and it escaped me. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Don't get me started on suntan lotion. The what is it? The benzones or something that are found in suntan lotion are found in people's bloodstreams. It's really it's it and is linked to cancer. It makes you wonder, is this leading to the increase in skin cancers instead of it being the sun? Also, sun like is this has been shown in studies to reduce different types of cancers being in the sun. I think it has a huge impact in reducing breast cancer. It's amazing. I love being in the sun. It's almost like your body craves it too. And the more you're out in it, like I know I'm very fair skinned, but yet I don't burn. So I kind of feel like, if you're avoiding certain toxins, if you're gradually just exposing yourself to the sun every day, what I mean is like, don't go and spend 12 hours on a beach. Of course you'll burn. Then you really, you don't end up burning, and then you get the health benefits of being out there. So I think, um, people need to stop being afraid of the sun and putting themselves out to it. I think there's a reason they're driving us away from the sun and trying to scare us with scare tactics means that it must be really healthy. That's something that we really need. So if you're afraid of the sun, and I don't mean that in a demeaning way, I would encourage you to kind of, to gradually get yourself used to it, and you'll feel good. It feels something, I don't know. It's so invigorating just being in the sun. Like my mother calls me a lizard because I will just go and find the sun wherever it is and just sit in it. And there was a reason why they would tell people not to look into the sunset in Australia. And I don't mean looking into the sun, but like the red light that comes with the sunset actually does have some major health benefits. And then I think something had happened in Australia where Australian authorities were telling people not to do that. And always you have to question, and again, I'm not talking about staring like straight into the sun. I'm not saying that, but you have to question, why they're saying don't look at the sunset. Oh, because there's some really awesome health benefits looking into the sunset. So I'm just going to catch up on these and I'm going to head out because my head is having trouble tonight. Putting crystals in water reconstructs the H2O molecules to get the full benefits of H2O in our bodies. It's amazing, the properties of water and then how you can change it and how it interacts with our bodies. And it's so clear that we are like, 80% water, because of just how perfectly it just goes together. I'm just always amazed by the human body. I can talk about that on and on. So thanks again for being here tonight. It was really nice seeing you all. And thank you so much. It is now for hopping in the chat. I'll ask you in a DM on Twitter. And don't wear sunglasses. Your eyes are light sensors and let your body prep your skin for the sunlight. Thank you so much for saying that. I'm a total believer in doing that. I will wear sunglasses on my head because I use it like a headband, but you will never see me with them on my face. Because for that reason, that you need that exposure to the sun because like you said, it preps your body for the sunlight, but also your eyes have a big impact in telling yourself, and your body signaling to you that it's time to get out of the sun, that you've had too much sun exposure. When you put sunglasses on, it messes with those signals to your body, which is amazing. Yeah, because that's how our body works. It's supposed to work all together in communion with each other. Yeah, people in America are getting sicker and sicker. So you have to look at our habits and say, what is going on? Why are we sicker? All these things that are supposedly healthy apparently aren't helping us. What are they doing in the healthier countries that, that we're doing here or vice versa? Like take GMOs, for example. They're legal here, and in healthier countries in Europe, they're illegal. So it makes you think, oh, the healthier country must be doing something right. Countries with more sun exposure are healthier, less incidences of COVID, it seems like, in places with high sun exposure. So there's something nefarious at play. And it seems very intentional. Sun is energy. Yep. Take care. Have a good night. Thank you for being here. Also, obviously I'm not saying we can photosynthesize, but if we take certain things before we go in the sun, I forget if it's like chlorella or spirulina, your body, it actually does create a little ATP in your body. So our body does some amazing things in the sun. That's why when you're fasting, it's easier to do it in summertime and when you're in the sunlight because of that little bump, that ATP bump that you get. It makes it, because I find that I have less appetite in the summer. It's so much easier to do a 1 meal a day fast when I'm out in the sun. And I wondered why. When I heard that made sense. Yeah. So I'm with you guys here. There's a lot of that in this country. So thank you all. Thank you all for being here. I hope I didn't seem too off. Like I said, I was on the verge of a migraine, but I really wanted to be here and I powered through. So I'm going to go lay down and thank you all again. So won't be here Saturday, but hopefully Friday we'll move it too, because I don't want to miss it. I love doing this with you guys. So have a good night. And and I will see you next week. Thank you again. Bye. Ciao. I'll see ya. Ciao, my fellow Westchesterite. Excedrin migraine is the bomb. I found a really good headache powder. It's like powdered form, and no, I don't mean Coke. Um, and it's a mixture of aspirin, acetaminophen, and caffeine, and it's amazing. I just didn't have it with me, and I took something else, and it didn't work, unfortunately. So, which I learned my lesson. I always have to go for the things that work for me. Otherwise, I end up in trouble. All right, guys, have a good night. But thank you for that suggestion. All right. Sleep tight. Don't let the aliens bite.